Signing day, Coach, obviously a big one, and point guard Keyshawn Tillery. What can you give us about his game and what he brings to the program?
Well, didn't I just post a video today?
You did, but like we got you here, we didn't ask you about it.
What I already said.
Okay, thanks for playing.
No, I'm thrilled about Keyshawn. Just absolutely thrilled, and I'd say somebody sent me the video. I recorded that a couple days ago, but you can't release that kind of stuff publicly until somebody officially signs. But I listened. I don't usually listen to the interviews and stuff, but I listened to that and I went, that sums it up pretty dang good. So whatever I say here, I don't know if I can say it as good as I already did, but he is just such a relentless competitor. And I do think of this term relentless when I think about, who he is as a player. As I said previously, I mean, we're not going to recruit anybody we're not excited about. Like, if we sign somebody, especially early, my gosh, I mean, we're going to be super excited about them, or we wouldn't be in this position. But there's an extra level of excitement for this young man, and I'm not one that pays attention, or I could care less about dang rankings. I mean, when the ball goes up in college basketball, like it's already gone up for the first time, who gives a hell about the rankings from the high school? I mean, nobody cares. But if I was to rank, I could tell you guys he's way underranked, okay? If I was to look at the rankings in this class, he is way underranked. He's a terrific player, and I think he fits us in so many ways. He fits our edge. He's about the right stuff. He loves to work. He loves basketball. I think he'll be a leader as he matures on this campus and in this community. I'm thrilled about him, and can't wait to get him here and put him in a Cincinnati jersey.
Did Kane Broom get another assist on this? I know you coach him like Tyler Betsy, but he coached against him.
I give Tyler Betsy more of an assist than Kane. Kane will be mad when I say that, but Kane, they play I think this has been documented already, but I went to the same high school that Keyshawn plays at. My high school coach is still the athletic director there, which is pretty cool. So when I would go back to recruit Keyshawn, I got to see my high school coach, Jamie Arsenal, who's really special to me. I don't think that had anything to do. I'd like to say that helped us. I don't think it helped us at all, but it was just kind of neat that he's playing where I played. I keep telling him he's the best point guard there since 2002. That's what I keep telling him when I'm recruiting him. But I say that because it's the same league that Tyler Betsy played in last year at St. Thomas More, and Kane Broom is an assistant coach at St. Thomas More still, and Kane did tell us how highly he thought of Keyshawn, and Tyler Betsy was even more colorful. Tyler Betsy thinks he's really, really good. He also got 40 on Tyler Betsy's team, which has been fun messing around about that when he visited. But Tyler's a big fan of his and has competed against him, and I know Tyler's really excited about him too.
Wes, when you look at the league that Keyshawn and both Tyler came from, you've experienced it yourself. How much does that competition help with that readiness when they get into your program?
Yeah, the New England Prep League, guys, it's been around for a really long time, and now there's great prep school basketball all over the country. That's really changed in the last 10, 15 years, but 20, 30 years ago, with a couple exceptions, and there are a couple exceptions, the majority of the great prep school basketball was all up in New England. So there's a history of that, and that league is still terrific coaches, terrific players. People come from all over the country to play in that league. So I got to experience that, and it was pretty neat because you're playing in that league in high school, and then you get to college and you're seeing all those guys, whether they're on other teams or on television, and then a couple of years later you're seeing a bunch of them in the NBA. And I think Keyshawn's going through the same experience in that way. And we've had a number of kids here at Cincinnati, not just while I've been coaching here, but over the years that come from that league. And I think guys that come from that league are more prepared for college.
Is there any pressure to add anyone more out of the 25 class in the high school ranks, or are you good with Keyshawn?
I'm sorry?
Any pressure to add anyone else in the 25 class?
No pressure, but we are actively recruiting guys that we think are impact guys, like guys that you guys see how excited I am about Keyshawn Tillery, guys that we're excited about like that. If we can't get a guy that we're excited about like that, no worries, and we'll move on to the next recruiting cycle. But if there's a chance to get, I can't say the wrong thing here, a guy that we're excited about like that, then we will add him. And you guys know how the NCAA rules, I'm only allowed to say so much about recruiting until they sign.
Looks like Keyshawn gets it up and down like you like to go. I know Day had some crazy time, like 2.7 up and down the court. Is he similar to that? It obviously gets it to the paint.
Yeah, he's got terrific ball speed. You know, like I wouldn't compare him to Day because they both have some differences, but in terms of ball speed, there's some similarities there in burst, which those are both elite skills for both players. So there are some similarities with ball speed and burst for sure.
What is the top trait that you are focusing on in recruiting? Is there a number one trait that stands out, or is it just a mixture of things that you're looking for?
I think the top traits, you know, because there's a handful of things, have nothing to do with basketball. I mean, the first thing we're looking for is guys with a Cincinnati edge, right? And I think that I don't need to explain to this crowd what that means, but we're looking for a Cincinnati edge, a competitiveness, a fight, a toughness. The second thing, and these aren't in any particular order, but some of the things that we try to stand out. I mean, and by the way, I mean, if there's not a certain level of talent and ability to play, we don't get to the stuff I'm talking about. But assuming the talent level's there and the ability to play and the physical attributes, right? That's just assuming. We don't even look at anybody that doesn't have that. But assuming that stuff's there, we're looking for that edge. We're looking for guys that really love the game. Like we're passionate about basketball here. Like God, it's probably a fault at times. I mean, how much we love the game, you know, and our staff, our players. Like we got passion here for the game. We're looking for guys that share that passion. Generally, those guys are going to love the work. So we're looking for guys that have a passion and a love for the work and the drive to improve every day. And then, you know, finally, we're trying to find guys that get the big picture, that this isn't tennis and golf. This is a team game, and they value the team winning and all the things that go into winning. And we're trying to see if there's, when we're really starting to evaluate a player, do they value the idea of what it takes to win? That's beyond just competitive edge, right? Do they value team? Do they understand team dynamics? You know, we thought Keyshawn checked all those boxes at the highest level.
Moving on to things you've already talked about before, is there anything else you can give us on Dan's situation, where he's at?
Yeah, he good news. I mean, you know, when somebody like in Dan's position, you know, you worry how, you know, you don't want it to be something catastrophically bad or something that season ending or something like that. I mean, Dan, first off, has to me the chance to play basketball well beyond Cincinnati, right? I mean, he's got big future ahead of him, and so the first thing is you hope it doesn't affect that. The good news is this should have nothing to do with his future. It should just be a little bit of a bump in the road for however long it takes to get him back, and that's really good news. The second thing is, you know, he had a minor procedure. It wasn't a serious procedure. You know, we're always restricted for good reason of what we can say about people medically, but I mean, guys, I can tell you it was pretty minor. It went as good as it could go. And I bet if I told Dan Skillings I wanted him to play Friday night, he'd probably try to dang play and be fine. Now, we ain't doing anything like that, but I think he'll be out for a week or two, a couple weeks, and then from there it'll be a week-to-week decision on when he plays again. So I can't give you. I know everybody wants what's the timetable. I can't give you a timetable. I can say it won't be the next couple weeks, but after that it'll kind of take it week to week. We will be incredibly conservative. So if I thought Dan could play next week and he thought he could play next week, and our trainers and our medical staff, I'd probably wait longer, right? Because we are going to be 100% sure that we're not putting him out for. It's not about when can he play. It's about when is it not going to be risky. in any way, even the slightest bit, for him to get back on the floor in a game situation. We'll take it incredibly slow. Again, I don't think it'll be forever for our fans out there at all. That would drive Dan crazy. But we will be more conservative than we have to be or we're told to be, just because, number one, it's the right thing to do, and number two, the young man has a big-time future ahead of him.
Day lobbied you last week to play. Have those efforts continued, and might he have a chance Friday?
Yes, he practiced. We didn't. We were off yesterday. He practiced Tuesday for the first time.
Yesterday was Tuesday.
He practiced Monday for the first time. Thank you. Coaches screw it up sometimes too, but it's basketball season when the days are going together. I don't know what day of the week it is, but he practiced 2 days ago, which was Monday, for the first time in team practice. He's been doing workouts and jumping into some things, but he did that for as long as I allowed it, and then he'll probably continue along that. And guys, it'll be I'm not going to repeat myself again. I mean, it's the same thing that I said about Dan. He could practice. He's been cleared medically. He can practice. He can play in the games. But we will take it incredibly slow and be incredibly conservative. I think it's not out of the question that he'll play some minutes on Friday night, but I won't have an answer to that until Friday, honestly. And that's not me holding out any information. That's the truth of it. We're just going to take it one day at a time until we feel that it's the right thing to do, not just now, but the big picture, because he's got a bright future ahead of him too.
Obviously, Dan does a lot of different things for you guys. When you look at him missing time, do you look for one person to kind of fill the gap and do what he does, or do you kind of replace him in the aggregate throughout the entire rotation?
I think anytime you lose a significant player for a game or a period of time, I don't think you fill that with one player. In our game, basketball, which is fluid and a continuous game, it's not baseball where you lose a first baseman, you plug in a first baseman. It's not how it goes. Or football where you lose a quarterback and you plug in a quarterback. I mean, it's 5 guys that are playing a more positionless game than it's ever been played. I think you fill those voids collectively. Certainly, Tyler Betsy, Rayvon Griffith, Josh Reed, CJ Frederick, here's some guys that if they collectively just rise up their level, then we can fill that void collectively. And I think that makes our team stronger in January and February. So it's a great opportunity for those guys. But no, it's not like I'm looking for one guy to replace Dan Skillings.
To piggyback off the question, with the guys that you have, I know you never want to lose a guy like Dan Skillings, of course, but are you kind of excited for the opportunities of those guys that may want to, get into that rotation or whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's silver lining to every situation, and I think that's how we're trying to approach any kind of adversity as coaches. And I think we got to be the example to young people that, hey, tough things are going to happen. I mean, Dan Skillings being out right now, gosh, guys, I hate that. Day Thomas having been out to this point, I hate that. But we're always telling young people how we want them to respond to any type of adverse situation or frustrating situation. So I think as coaches, we got to look at it the same way and try to be examples. So yeah, I think the other side of it is, hey, what an opportunity to get extended minutes, because Dan's going to play, right? He's going to eat up a lot of minutes and a big role in this team. So you remove a guy like that who plays multiple positions. Now there's a number of guys that are going to get even more opportunity. I think the guys I just mentioned they're going to play. They're all going to get plenty of opportunity. Now they get more. And I think that's great for the development of them individually and for our team.
Dan's well-rounded, is good at a lot of things. Is rebounding maybe the one that's the hardest to replicate? You've got shooters, you got guys that can defend, but he seems like his ability to attack the glass is different.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to we're playing more than one game every 7 or 8 days, and you don't get to chew on one as a media for a whole week, because you guys will pick apart everything. So, I wouldn't be careful not to over analyze any one game. We've had 30 practices. if I ever overanalyze one of them, guys, I'd go crazy because it's some days you're doing some things better than others. But I think it's easy to look at our game against Morehead State and see that we had a poor night on the backboards and go, oh, that's just Dan Skillings because he is an excellent rebounder. And guys, yes, he's an excellent rebounder on both ends. And I love that about him. It's one of the main reasons he stood out to me the first time I watched him play. But I don't think it's just that simple. Just because we had a poor rebounding night and Dan didn't play, that now we're going to have some rebounding problem. We've had plenty of practices, guys, where I was really pissed about our rebounding and Dan was out there. Okay, so and then we've had practices that the other team rebounded the heck out of it and Dan was on the other team. So I think we got a number of guys that are capable of that. We value that here. I expect Cincinnati, as long as, hey, listen, if you put a jersey on that says Cincinnati, a basketball jersey that says Cincinnati, I expect us to damn rebound. Okay, I don't care if me and four of you guys get out there, I expect us to damn rebound. And shoot, those guys in the locker room got a better chance than we do. But that's the expectation.
Dylan Mitchell's pretty good at rebounding, right, Russ? I'd say so. You know, he's pretty good, right?
We got quite a few of them that are capable of being excellent, and I think at the end of the year we can say, hey, they had excellent years rebounding. Dan's one, but dang, we have a bunch more in there for sure.
What's the biggest? Oh, sorry, Chad. What's the biggest thing that sticks out to you about Dylan Mitchell's game overall? I know he's very well versed and everything else. He's had a big impact in the first two games, but what's the one thing that really stands above all with Dylan Mitchell?
The thing that stands above all, it's probably a bad answer, and it's not a cop-out, it's the honest truth, is how many things he's capable of doing at a high level on a basketball court. That's what sticks out to me. And you knew about quite a few of them before you get him. But there's a lot more that I didn't know about. I mean, he's capable of doing so many different things at a high level. That's been really impressive to me and to our staff. Whether it's his ability to play in the open court, whether it's with the ball, which we didn't. I mean, how about the play he made against Morehead State when he catches a pitch ahead, takes a dribble, draws 2 or 3, and then makes a skip across the floor to Seamas. I mean, it's like we've been seeing that all summer and fall. I mean, whether it's with the ball or whether it's running lanes and making plays. He had another play in the Morehead State game. He runs and sees a little cut, catches it at 4 or 5 feet, and he's right to the front of the rim. I mean, he's very dynamic in transition with and without the ball. He's an incredibly dynamic rebounder on both ends when he's geared up to do it. I think he could be one of the best defenders in all of college basketball. He's still developing some of his defensive principles, to guard every position, not just guard one type of position. And so I think it'll be really fun to watch that progression over the course of the year because he's been working at it in practice. I've been shocked how smart he is as an offensive player in the half court. His feel for cutting, his feel with the ball and decision making. He's almost like a point forward at times. He can drive it. He can score in the post. He's improving as a shooter. Like all the things that he can do, it starts, and that he can do them all at a really damn high level. I think that's the part that stuck out.
The Twyman Stokes Classic. First off, just what do you know about that story, and what have you learned, and what has it kind of meant to you guys? And then Nichols, sneaky, pretty good. They think they beat LSU in a super secret scrimmage nobody's allowed to know anything about, but they appear to be pretty solid.
Yes, so I really appreciate the question about the Twyman Stokes Classic because there's some meaning there, right? And I hope it's something we can build off in the future and continue to there's so many great stories with Cincinnati basketball or attached in some way to Cincinnati basketball, and there's so many things that I didn't know till I got here, right? Like I still learn, and I'm not surprised anymore. But gosh, after I got here, of course I'd heard of Jack Twyman, right? I mean, Hall of Famer and all that kind of stuff. Now he's well before my time, as you guys know, but I'd heard about him, I knew of him. But you start to hear the story of him and Maurice Stokes, which I had no idea, and I had actually heard about the award in the NBA. You guys know the Teammate of the Year award in the NBA is I think the Stokes Twyman Teammate of the Year award, and so I'd even heard that, but never thought, well, why is that the case? And I believe Marvin Williams, who I played with, who's a dear friend, either received it or was, in the voting multiple years, 1 or 2 or 3 for that. So whether he got it or not, I know he was right there. So again, I'm aware of all that, but getting to learn the story was really special for me. And for those of you that don't know the story, I'm a basketball junkie and fanatic, and so I didn't know. That just tells you it's a story that's not being told enough, because it's special, and it's the type of story that could impact you whether you care about this sport or not. Whether the ball bouncing makes your heart flicker or not. I mean, it's something that could impact all of us in every walk of life. But for those of you guys that don't know, and I'll give you the cliff notes, and we'll make sure our team hears a much more detailed version, and I'd suggest everybody look into it more. But Jack Twyman and Maurice Stokes were teammates in the NBA, and we're talking about a time that we're not where we need to be yet, okay? But we're talking about a time where you have an African American player and a white player, and in a time that was much different than today. And I say that we ain't arrived yet. We got a lot of work to do there, but it's a much different time. And Maurice Stokes suffered a debilitating, not just career-ending injury, but a life-changing injury. I believe he was in a coma, paralyzed, the whole nine. And the story of how Jack Twyman, his teammate, looked out, became his guardian, raised a ton of money, and looked out for him, and developed this lifelong friendship that started as teammates into something so much more deep and impactful for the rest of their lives. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing in humanity, and it just so happens that one of the two guys in that powerful story was a player at Cincinnati and has his jersey hanging in the rafters. So I think it's really cool. Again, I'd like to continue to figure out ways to celebrate that and bring awareness to that story. And then Jay Twyman, Jack's son, was at our UCF game last year. We met before the game. He gave me some light into that story. He'll be here, and some of the Twyman family for the game on Friday night. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on with that. Thank you for the question. It's something I did want to talk about any chance I get.
Nichols.
Yeah, and Nichols, guys, you don't take anybody lightly. There's no opponent that, we shoot. Back when you're coaching at the low and mid-major level, you might schedule some non-D1 games to try to offset some of the challenging games on your schedule, and everybody does that, and I get it after being there. But maybe you play somebody you could take lightly. You would never say that, but maybe you just know somebody's that bad because you schedule some NAIA school, and there's some really good NAIA schools, but you schedule some school that just can't physically compete. But I say that because at this level, you don't schedule the non-D1 games. Every single Division I team has scholarships. All these guys lace them up just like we do, and I would not take any of them lightly. And I try to get our team to understand that every year. This one's well beyond just that kind of a statement, because you may not know the name Nicholls State like you would know the names of the Big 12 schools, but they are damn good. I mean, they are damn good. They won at LSU last year, and as you said, they've had a pretty nice preseason. They almost won at New Mexico on opening night, who then New Mexico goes and beats UCLA in the next game on the road. So we're going to play against a really good basketball team in here Friday night, but may not have the national name that our fans recognize, but they're a really good team. And it just so happens that the head coach played for me, which makes me feel really damn old. Okay, but he's the youngest coach in Division I basketball. His name's Tavon Sadler. He's near and dear to my heart. And when he played for me, I was the youngest coach in Division I basketball. And what I can say after watching his team here the last couple of days, he's doing a hell of a lot better job at that age than I was doing. So, yeah, I'm concerned about. Listen, we're ready for any level of opponent, but I do want to make sure that people, like our players and our fans, understand this is a good basketball team coming in here Friday night.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Yes, Coach.